Good evening, everyone. Prior to us coming back together or back to order, I'd like to refer anyone who needs translator services to Ms. Paula Valbuena at the podium.
Thank you, President Brown. Buenas tardes, habla Paula Valbuena. Si necesita servicios de interpretación al español, por favor llame al 1805-324-7680 e ingrese el código de acceso 845-22481 más la tecla numeral. Este es un número totalmente gratis. Nuevamente, llame al número de teléfono 1805-324-7680 e ingrese el código de acceso 845-22481 más la tecla numeral. También puede acceder a estas instrucciones en nuestro sitio web en mcs4kids.com, dirigiéndose a la parte inferior de la página en Quick Links y haciendo clic en Board Agendas para ir a la agenda de esta noche. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valbuena. Welcome to Modesto City Schools regular board meeting of March 6th, 2023. This meeting is now called to order. Since we have a board member that is attending via Teams, it's necessary that we have roll call this evening. So first of all, Trustee Daly.
Here.
Trustee Lopez.
Here.
Trustee Maestas.
Here.
Trustee Marks.
Here.
I heard a faint here, so she's here via Teams. And Trustee Mejia.
Here.
Vice President Irvin.
Here.
And Student Board Rep Dara Patel.
Here.
And I'm President Brown, also present. So let the record reflect that all members are represented here this evening, and we do have a quorum. I would like to ask everyone to please stand for and join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. It's great to see a full house tonight, and we appreciate all of you being here for this meeting. This open session of the Board of Trustees is being live streamed at the direction of the board. The live stream is available on the district's website, and the recordings will be available for viewing the day after the board meeting. MCS has provided an opportunity for the public to provide comments. It is outlined on the agenda. The public has been given an opportunity to call in and leave a voicemail, send us a comment via email, or appear in person before the board. Any public comments received via email or voicemail following the posting of the board agenda and prior to noon on the day of the board meeting will not be read aloud, but have been transcribed and printed with copies provided to each board member prior to the start of the meeting and are available to the public. The voice and email public comments will be attached to a future board meeting minutes for approval. This practice will continue until further notice. For members of the public that are interested in commenting in the future, we welcome your comments. If you wish to address the board during the period of public comment on a subject that is not on the agenda, you must complete a public presentation request card and submit it to the board president prior to the period for public comment. If you need assistance from our translator, please indicate so on the request card. Every person who wishes to address the board, please fill out a card. You will find the cards in the lobby, and you can hand them to Ms. Chambers in the back. Ms. Chambers, raise your hand, please. Alrighty. I want to remind you that if you wish to make a complaint against a specific district employee, you should follow the district's personnel complaint procedure. Copies of that procedure are available in the lobby, as are agenda copies, which outline the procedures we will observe during the period for public comment. The right to address the board does not exempt the speaker from any potential liability for defamation. If you plan to speak on a topic, please fill out a card now, as no cards will be accepted after the period for public comment has begun. The maximum time number for any one speaker is 3 minutes for a total of 30 minutes. In the event that we have more than the number of speakers that fill that 30-minute allotment, we may decide to shorten the individual speaker time and or extend the amount of period for public comment to accommodate more speakers. This will be decided based on the number of comment cards that we receive. So now we are pleased to welcome 2 students from Kirschen Elementary School to lead us in the flag salute. Our students are first, 5th grader Abigail Maya White. Abigail, would you stand, please? Oh, she's not here. I'm sorry. Let's see. Then we have Dan Nilo Garnisa. And I see Dan standing. So Dan, you're going to lead us in the flag salute? That's great. 2nd grader Dan Nilo is an outstanding scholar. He was Student of the Month in January and a Character Trait Award recipient this year. Dan Nilo participates in the after-school education and safety program. He enjoys playing soccer, fishing, and spending time outside with friends. Following college, Dan Nilo would like to play soccer for the U.S. soccer team. So Dan, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, set, go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nobody there, it'll be fine.
There's no one in the room yet.
I do need to report that coming out of closed session, in closed session, the board gave direction to staff. I'd now like to turn some time over to our superintendent, Dr. Noguchi, for the superintendent's welcome and announcements.
Thank you, President Brown. I agree with President Brown when he said it's great to see so many people out in the audience. I look forward to hearing from you, your comments and feedback. And congratulations to those award recipients that are out here today. I did have a few words that I wanted to say about our sustainability initiatives, but really in the interest of time and in the interest of the folks that are outside of the building, I'm going to pause and not go through that and turn it back over to you so that way we can speed that up so we can get them in here.
All right. Next, we have Board of Education member reports. Do I have any board members who'd like to share a report? So first I see Trustee Mejia.
Well, I had the great opportunity to go to Bayer and be part of this Saturday. I didn't know it was gonna be that long, but it was awesome. I think we spent a bunch of time understanding their program. It was fascinating. The students led the whole entire thing. It was cool to see how much they've grown and they placed at the national competition work. So it was pretty incredible. I learned more probably in a few hours about robotics than I've learned in many years of my life. But it was really fascinating to see, and the students led all the presentations. It was fascinating, and got to connect to parents of some of the students and teachers. So it was just an awesome experience, and hopefully get to see other programs that we have in the district like this that are just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Trustee Maestas.
Thanks. I too went to the Bayer Robotics, and I took my my two youngest kids, and my middle son said, "Yeah, I think I would." I actually thought he would do something with like the computer programming stuff, and he's like, "No, I don't want to do that. I'd much rather do the mechanical things and put together the mechanic stuff." And I thought that was pretty interesting. So I learned something new about my own son. But they really enjoyed it. And having all the students do the presentations and talk about the wiring and all the stuff that goes into that competition was awesome and fascinating, and great leadership among those kids. I also had an opportunity to go to the Lakewood Theater performance this weekend. This was put on by the Missoula Children's Theater. This group works with kids for 1 week. And so these kids worked 1 week after school for hours, and then put on a performance on Fridays and 2 performances on Saturday. So they did Rumpelstiltskin. It was fun. It was funny, and the kids did amazing. So I had such a great time. What a great group to have work with our children. And that's all I have.
Great. Vice President Irvin.
Yes, I also had the great opportunity of going to the Bayer Robotics Open House. I had an opportunity to, my son to go with me, who is a Downey graduate and a computer engineer, and currently works as a cybersecurity engineer. And so he was equally impressed at what was going on over there, and had discussions with both Corey and Blank as far as their passions for building robotics and what they wanted to do. One wanted to be a mechanical engineer and the other electrical engineer. So they were talking to my son, and he was telling them the electrical engineer is similar to computer engineering. They have a lot of classes together. But he was really impressed by the level of knowledge that these two students in the robotics program at Bayer had. And he was telling them, you know, my dad had to take me to the Bay Area to learn a lot of that technology stuff, because it wasn't available here back when he was in high school. So it was really good to see them welding, etching, programming the robots. We have a gem of a program here in Modesto. So look forward to the great things they're going to produce in the future. Also had a chance to go to the Black Joy talent show and judge the talent that they had there. And they were giving away the talent show, $1,000 first prize, $500 second, and $300 third. Although we had students from Modesto City Schools enter, they wasn't successful in winning, but it was a really good event that was put on by some former students in Modesto City Schools that are part of the Youth Empowerment Program. Also got to see the students from Modesto City Schools and Atwater School District see the Sankofa Theater production of The Piano Lesson, August Wilson Pulitzer Prize winning play We had a couple hundred students there, and Atwater brought 100 students from Atwater School District to see the play as well. So it was really good to see our students out at the Gallo Center for the Arts. Also got to attend the school boundary meetings at Modesto High School and Davis High School. And so it was really good to hear the feedback from those staff members and community members who were at those meetings and give that input for the boundaries, the school boundaries. And there's more meetings to come, and more folks who will be invited to attend those meetings as the district schedules them. Another event I had the opportunity to go to and speak at, as I was their speaker, was the Bayer ROTC Cadets Patriot Ball that they had over at the Veterans Center on Coffee Road. Principal Dan Parks, Major Sharma, and Staff Sergeant McBride did a wonderful job. The students, the cadets, actually organized and planned that whole event. There were over 150 participants who came to the event, so it was really well attended. And so it was nice to see our JROTC program growing and flourishing in our district. The first JROTC program in the history of the 151 history of Modesto City Schools. And that was my schedule of events. So it was great opportunities.
Trustee Daly?
I just want to take a few moments to thank La Loma Middle School, Lakewood Elementary, and El Vista Elementary for welcoming me onto their campus and showing me around and showing me the highlights. I love the murals on La Loma. The principal's energy is amazing. I'm sure those middle school kids just love that. Lakewood is a beautiful campus. Their library is amazing, and I'm excited to see all of the changes that are going to happen at El Vista as we do the groundbreaking.
Thank you. Trustee Marks, did you have something to share?
Yes, thank you. So great. So just a few things. Attended the CalSSD, the California Large Suburban District meeting in Sacramento with our superintendent and with our Tim Zerley, our business associate, anyway, superintendent. And it was awesome to go up there and meet in person. It's our first time in, I think, 2.5 years that we've met in person. So that was really special. And then I also attended the robotics at Bayer. That was so great on a Saturday to see so many board members out. And for me to see Heidi, I think it was Heidi, but it was her program that she started 11 years ago in a classroom with Legos. And to see where it is today is phenomenal. And that our students are competing at such a high level and just so professional in everything that they did there. It was really a great experience to be there and see that. And then I also attended the Budget Advisory Committee with our teachers unions and our classified union and some staff members from our district. It's really good to be able to have those discussions about the budget together. And then I attended the Clergy Council meeting. It was kind of a celebration at the end because Consuela it was announced that she'd been in a really terrible car accident, and she was able to come back in a wheelchair that day and just be with us for a short time. So it was wonderful to have photos, and some of you probably saw that on Facebook. Many people posted that. And then lastly, I attended the Latino Community Roundtable, and our own John Irvin was a guest speaker there as well. I know you didn't say that in your what you said, John, but also Councilwoman Rosa Escamante was the other speaker. So it was great to be there with some other board members and just be in a great time to hear your story and hear her story. It was very special. It was a very special event. So thank you for sharing and being willing to get up and do that day. So it's been a very busy month.
Yes.
That it has. Trustee Lopez.
I just want to be brief. I was able to go attend the boundary meeting at Modesto High. I thank everyone that came out and shared their opinion with us. As I always mention, we need to hear more, and we need to try to get to close as the community input, right? So when we make these, when these conversations happen, we know that we're surrounded by everyone around the table, and that's what we want. The more, the merrier. So I encourage everyone to come out to the following ones. You'll be hearing through many spaces now, whether it's social media or text messaging. So I invite you to come out and share your opinion with us. That's my report.
Thank you, board members. You've been very busy. And I too attended the Budget Advisory Committee and was also able to attend the robotics presentation at Bayer. That presentation was just a snippet of what we are doing with our CTE programs, and we have a lot to show off. And we're very proud of our students and the leadership that we have from the staff that works with them, and the career opportunities that are being taught in our high schools is amazing. So thank you to all that are involved there. Now we have time for some great recognitions. And I'd like to turn the microphone over to Mrs. Muma Solario.
Thank you so much. Good evening, board trustees, Dr. Noguchi, and of course all of our MCS families, our students, our staff, all of the community that is here tonight. We've got a big group. Tonight, actually at this moment, this is my favorite time portion of the meeting because we get to recognize all of the hard work of our students, our staff, our teachers, all of the dedication and innovation as well. And of course, I'm talking about the recognitions. You've been looking at all of these beautiful awards up here all night. Tonight, we are celebrating an outstanding scholar, a 4th grade Oroville Wright Elementary School student, Alejandra Mendez, for the Character Trait Initiative. Here to tell us more about Mendez's nomination is multi-tiered system of support coach Michelle Beaton and classroom teacher Jose Avila. Also here tonight in support is Principal Javier Lara and Vice Principal Cecilia Bolton. So come on up, team. There you are.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to the family of Alejandra for making it here. And we're so happy to celebrate such a special young lady at our school. So we'll go ahead and get on with it. So please allow me to introduce you to a fabulous Orville Wright flyer, Alejandra Mendez. Alejandra is a scholar in Mr. Avila's 4th grade class who exudes a multitude of positive character traits that make Orville Wright School a delightful place for students and staff. One of Alejandra's strongest traits is initiative. In September, she illustrated her initiative after reading a fluency passage about the importance of reading. And then Alejandra reminded Mr. Avila that the date of International Literacy Day was approaching, and with the support of her friends, she spearheaded a school-wide event to celebrate the importance of reading, writing, and language skills. She reminded us all how fortunate we are to live in a society that offers opportunities to learn and grow. Alejandra also shows initiative in her quick willingness to step up and be helpful in the classroom to Mr. Avila as well as her peers. She is loved by staff and students alike because she embodies kindness and leadership. We are all proud of her, and we know that she will continue to be an asset to Orville Wright School and to the world at large as she continues to act with her charismatic and contagious spirit. Thank you, Alejandra, for being a flyer that makes Orville Wright a better place.
We're going to invite Trustee Daly to join for the photo.
Yes, I did.
Tonight, we are also recognizing 4 outstanding MCS staff members who are nominated as MCS Heroes. Senior Director of Educational Options, Rachel Barkas, is here tonight to talk about the nomination. Will Cheryl Limbaugh, Carol Serpa, and Sarah Gordon also please come on up?
Thank you. I nominated Career Technical Education Coordinator Cheryl Limbaugh, CTE Analyst 1 Carol Serpa, CTE Promotion Technician Tasha Hutton, who wasn't able to be here with us this evening, and CTE Specialist Sarah Gordon for the MCS Hero Award. On January 19th, 2023, in partnership with the Modesto Chamber of Commerce, Modesto City Schools held the first annual Inspire Youth, Inspire Dreams event, showcasing our career technical education programs. We had over 4,000 eighth grade students and community members come to the event. This team worked very hard behind the scenes with the logistical planning, stuffing swag bags, ordering banners, updating lesson plans, delivering lesson plans, all kinds of things to ensure that the event went off without a hitch. The Inspire Youth, Inspire Dreams event was a success because of the hard work, service, and dedication of this team. I'm very proud of the initiative and quality of work they exhibited through planning and execution overall. They truly are MCS heroes and very deserving of this recognition. Congratulations.
I'd like to invite trustees Irvin and Mejia to join in the photo.
Okay, and lastly, for tonight's special recognition, I would like to invite Associate Superintendent and Chief Business Official Tim Zierli, it is a long title, up to say a few words about the recognition for the Energy Star Building Certification.
Thank you, Linda. Good evening, trustees, guests. About 2.5 years ago, we partnered with Synergistic to help guide us along our first energy conservation or energy awareness program. And today, the president of Synergistic, John Bernard, is here. He just flew in to California earlier today, drove down to Modesto. He is here to introduce the program and the awards. And then after that, we'd like to invite the board to come down to greet the school representatives that are here as we call them up. So thank you, John.
Good evening, President Brown, trustees, Superintendent Noguchi, cabinet members. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to participate in a celebration of an exciting achievement for Modesto City Schools. Tonight, we are proud and honored to announce that 19 of Modesto City's schools have earned the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Energy Star recognition certification for superior energy performance in 2022. Much like an appliance in our homes can earn an Energy Star label, buildings can also earn Energy Star certifications. But to qualify for such recognition, buildings have to meet strict ventilation standards set by the EPA and score in the top 25% of all similar buildings in the nation. On average, Energy Star certified buildings use 35% less energy, they cause 35% less greenhouse gas emissions, and they're less expensive to operate than their peers. These awards are significant for Modesto City for a number of reasons. Number one, they represent recognition by the EPA for excellence in energy efficiency. They acknowledge the district's superior stewardship of its financial and environmental resources. These awards honor each person in your organization for their hard work and commitment to sustaining an exemplary energy conservation program. And perhaps most importantly, every dollar not spent on energy is a dollar that can be redirected toward greater student outcomes, which is why all of you are here and all of us are here. So on behalf of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and all of us at Synergistic, congratulations on this significant recognition. We're proud of our partnership with Modesto City Schools and your commitment to protecting the environment, both for your current students and for future generations.
We have 17 of the 19 schools that were recognized here tonight to receive the award. We're going to call you up, hand you the award. The board would like to greet you. And then if you can, outside, if there's still any light left, we'll try to get a picture of you all together outside the building once we're done. So the first one is Beard Elementary School. Burbank Elementary School. Everett Elementary School. El Vista Elementary School. Insuland Elementary School. Franklin Elementary School. Fremont Elementary School. Muir Elementary School. La Loma Junior High School. Lakewood Elementary School. Mark Twain Junior High School. Modesto High School. Orville Wright Elementary School. Roosevelt Junior High School. Rose Avenue Elementary School. Shackelford Elementary School. And Wilson Elementary School. The two schools that could not join us tonight were Robinson Road Elementary School and Garrison Elementary School. Thank you.
And that concludes tonight's recognitions.
So folks that are standing in the back, the chairs are no longer reserved, so even though it says reserved, you can ignore that, so you can come in and have a seat.
So we're going to move now to item number A8 on the agenda, approval of the consent agenda. Are there any comments regarding the consent agenda items from the public? Don't see any consent agenda related comments. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Just a moment. Trustee Mejia?
So I think I want to recuse myself. I think there's some, is there an item that on G3, on G2?
That, you're not voting on anything specifically, it's just a report. It's just an annual report, so you'll be okay.
Okay. All right, then, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by trustee Maestas and second by trustee Daly. Those in favor? Aye. Do we need a roll call? We do need a roll call on everything that we vote on tonight since we have someone with teams. So going to start with Student Representative Patel.
Aye.
And trustee Mejia.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye.
Trustee Marks.
Aye.
Trustee Daly.
Aye.
And trustee Maestas.
Aye.
And Vice President Irvin.
Aye.
And President Brown, aye. So the motion carries unanimously. We'll now move to the letter A9, approval of order of discussion and action items. Do I hear a motion to approve the order of discussion, action items? Motion by trustee Mejia, second by trustee Lopez, and once again, a roll call. Student Representative.
Aye.
Trustee Mejia.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye.
Trustee Daly.
Aye.
Trustee Maestas.
Aye.
And Vice President Irvin.
Aye.
And President Brown, aye. Oh, Trustee Marks, you're hiding.
Aye.
So that is also unanimous. Thank you, Trustee Marks. And then we are now prepared for the period of public presentations. Do I have all of the cards that have been submitted? And I have them here. So I have 9 cards this evening, and I'll ask each speaker, when we call your name, to come to the podium and address the board. You'll each have 3 minutes to speak. So first card is Jennifer McGrath Aller.
Hi, good evening, trustees, cabinet, and Superintendent Noguchi. My name's Jennifer McGrath Aller. I'm a computer literacy teacher over at Beard Elementary, and I'm on the MTA Board of Directors as well. I think we can all agree that the last 3 years have been the hardest, most stressful in our time, in our careers. I know it has been for myself and for my children. While we feel like we're moving past the pandemic, the full effects from the last few years have come to fruition. The stress of trying to teach in this new environment with escalating unprecedented behaviors, the lack of motivation, the screen addiction, etc., they have made teaching feel impossible at times. All of this while teachers deal with their own personal lives and their own personal struggles. We are human too, and we have been affected just as much as everyone else. If you want to be a true destination district, you have to look for ways to support your teachers during this difficult time. not transfer teachers in bulk without warning to add to their stress. If you want to be a true destination district, you have to value employees who dedicated entire careers to their site and are close to retirement. Teachers who dreamed of finishing their careers at a site that they helped to build. Not transfer in bulk without prior unsatisfactory evaluations for no real good reason that we can see. If you want to be a true destination district, you have to care about the effects that this has on those being transferred and their families. Not transfer teachers and tell them, when they tell you that they have children with anxiety who need them at their site, to take their child with them. And I'm still trying to grapple that sentence that was actually said. I want to be clear that this transfer language has not been used like this in the past, not to this degree ever. A true destination district would not lead by fear, because they understand that people who feel valued go the extra mile. And if you're here to support Downey Blue tonight, can you raise your signs? This is what fear looks like. Thank you, and I hope you consider reversing this decision.
Thank you. Next speaker will be Chris Peterson.
Board President Brown, trustees, Superintendent Noguchi and Cadman, Modesto City Schools Learning Community, and proud members of Modesto Teachers Association. My name is Chris Peterson, MTA President. Article 13, transfers, page 83, item C, administrative transfers, is currently a part of our collective bargaining agreement, and I'll never forget it. Last month, site administrators, supported by district administration, used this authority to move members of our membership to other sites for the next school year. This authority moves teachers and other members of the bargaining unit from one site to the other. Over the past 7 years, the association can identify 5 administrative transfers, excluding the 2 years of COVID. That is roughly 1 per year, rarely used. This year, our experience is clearly different and involves 2 sites and multiple teachers impacted at each. To respect the privacy and professional reputation of impacted members, the association will not and has not shared the total number of administrative transfers nor the locations. Conditions at one site have been different. The Downey staff responded and unified to support impacted colleagues of their campus. Union site representatives requested association action. The MTA held a Downey staff meeting, including our board of directors and negotiation committee. In front of you this evening, our Wear Downey Blue campaign is evident. Our focus is designed to support impacted members and to resist the utilization of administrative transfers. At the Downey staff meeting, an impacted member requested that I read his letter to his colleagues. It had such impact upon the group, I requested that he allow me to read excerpts this evening. From the member. On Friday, February 10th, I attended a meeting with Human Resources Director at the district office. I did know at the time, but many others from Downey had meetings that same day as well. I was informed that my 23-24 teaching assignment was the issue to be discussed, and she told me that the district was going to move me from Downey to another site to be determined. The only reason I was given, it was in the best interest of Downey High School. I asked if his enrollment was an issue, and she said, no, Downey is not overstaffed. At this HR meeting, after I got my thoughts together, I said, what about my 16-year-old daughter, youngest of 5 children, who will be a senior next year? What about my daughter? The answer, well, she could attend with you. Needless to say, her answer shocked me. As a proud father of 5 Downey Knights, as well as a former coach of 10 years, athletic director of 8, and a veteran teacher of 28 years. The association, the presence here this evening, calls for the Modesto City School Boards to block all administrative transfers for 23-24. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jason Taylor.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to advocate for myself regarding an involuntary transfer. My name is Jason Taylor. I've been a history teacher for 28 years, 26 of those years committed to making positive contributions to the Downey community. I love Downey. Downey's been my home away from home since 1995. The Downey community is my family. Downey will always be my chosen destination within our destination district. My transfer shocked myself and the entire Downey community. We still do not understand why I am being transferred. I have never been evaluated by the current administration. I just recently received vague reasons from Human Resources that have nothing to do with me as an individual. Please consider 28-year career of 100% satisfactory evaluations, approved by current administration for the coveted 5-year evaluation cycle. No desk memos, no letters of reprimand, no program improvement. Modesto City Schools team player who has worked for dozens of administrators at Downey, across Modesto City Schools, and Ceres Unified. As a full-time teacher, summer school teacher, extended summer school teacher, adult education teacher, spring intercession teacher, winter intercession teacher, optional period teacher, Saturday school teacher, and coach of multiple sports. I am dependable and durable. I have accumulated 95.6 days of sick leave. I voted in favor of proposals initiated by current Downey administration. I participate in annual professional development opportunities. I attend, participate, and lead PLC and collaborative team process through the development and implementation of student engagement strategies via new educational technology. I humbly petition the board to do everything in its power to reverse my transfer based on my job performance and nearly 30-year commitment to the Downey community. Lastly, will unprecedented transfers transform Modesto City Schools into a destination district? Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Matt, and forgive me if I get the name wrong, Maliland?
Board members and guests. I'm here to speak about the transfer of Mr. Jason Taylor. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak with all of you regarding Mr. Jason Taylor. Mr. Taylor is a coach and teacher at Thomas Downey High School, where he has coached my son at football, and I hope one day my son will be lucky enough to have him as a teacher at Downey High School. I myself was one of the lucky ones to have Mr. Taylor as a coach and teacher when I was a student at Ceres High School. Mr. Taylor played a significant role in who I am today and is one of the reasons why I wanted my son to attend Downey High School. Mr. Taylor is a mentor to his students who always displays and teaches leadership by being firm but fair in his discipline. Having and keeping a teacher like Mr. Taylor at Downey High School is important to myself and those here tonight. I hope my son, along with the other students at Downey High School, will continue to have the opportunity of Mr. Taylor teaching and coaching at that school. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Irene Dalia.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. By the time we graduate high school, we've had interaction with about 50 or so teachers, counselors, administrators. Some of the names and faces we don't even remember, but we all have that one teacher that has made an impact in our lives. Steve Tyler is that teacher for us. My daughter Caitlin suffered debilitating anxiety and panic attacks. She was diagnosed with functional neurological disorder when she was a freshman, which was the same year we met Mr. Tyler. We were assigned to him in independent studies, and since the first home visit, he reassured Caitlin and started building a foundation of trust and support that would allow her to return to on-campus learning. He made himself available not only to her, but to myself as well. I saw not only Caitlin's confidence growing, but her resolve to ask for help because she knew she could count on him. When she returned to campus, he still kept a watchful eye on her, and the resource room was a place she felt safe and a sense of community to help her cope with her anxiety and panic episodes. So much so that we built that into her 504 plan. I remember one day when Caitlin was a sophomore, she was having a really rough day. And she called me telling me that she had fainted in the girls' restroom and she couldn't get up. She was so disoriented that she couldn't tell me which restroom she was in. I felt so helpless, but without hesitation, I called Steve Tyler and I knew he would find her. And that's exactly what he did. He kept me on the line and he walked the halls yelling into the bathrooms till he found her and got her the help she needed. It was important for me to come and share this with you tonight because if it wasn't for his dedication, his commitment, his compassion, and his support, I doubt my daughter would have been as successful returning to on-campus learning and that I would be here standing proudly able to say that she walked across the stage as part of the graduating class of 2022 at Thomas Downey High School. Steve Tyler is part of the team of what makes Downey great. So please block this involuntary transfer. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Eli Bynum.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you on behalf of my colleagues, peers, and friends. Last time I came before you, the board was honoring me for the efforts as an educator. Tonight, I stand before you to honor my colleagues. As a teacher and a coach for over 20 years at Downey High, as an alum, I do believe administrative transfers serve a great purpose. Holding people accountable is paramount to the success of any business, any team, and also in the educational platform. In the athletic domain, we coaches hold athletes accountable for their actions and behaviors inside and outside of class. As an educator, we are asked to hold kids accountable for their work, their actions, and their progress. In both cases, this is done by providing a clear line of communication, constant feedback, many heartfelt talks, and building relationships that last a lifetime. However, tonight my colleagues are being asked to be moved by our district. So I'm standing here today asking the powers that be, what is the difference between an employee and a student? Why aren't we providing our teachers the same accommodations we provide our students daily? Ultimately, where is the due process? Being a teacher that has been elected for leadership, various committees, faculty senate, and head coaching positions, I have learned that culture is king. The climate and culture of any educational setting can have lasting effects on the success of the school environment. What will the culture look like after these 4 transfers? Teachers are being moved without any excuse, a reason, an unsatisfactory observation, a discussion, or respective feedback. I ask you, how does that improve the climate or culture? These actions will create a culture where teachers will be afraid to speak up in any opposition, holding back their beliefs to create change and to do what sometimes goes against the grain. Having uncomfortable conversations is how we build a community and find and build best practices. Being a teacher means your school becomes your home, your family, and your way of life. Downey High teachers adhere to the motto, once a night, always a night. Many of the teachers I work with and went to Downey now work at Downey, and their kids have attended Downey. Is our motto going to change? Once a night, always a night, unless you speak out? Or maybe we don't need to tell you why you're being moved. But maybe you would better be served as a Spartan or an Eagle or Jaguar, a Panther, a Viking, or ironically, a Patriot. I implore all of the board members to remember this decision does not affect only these 4 Downey teachers. This is a decision that will affect all Modesto City School teachers moving forward. So I ask you, if you want to build a destination district, believe in the power of culture and demand due process. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Connor Stoddard.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a senior at Downey High School, and I'm here to speak about the teachers being transferred. And I love Downey, love the community, and I feel like part of that is because of the wonderful teachers and staff we have at Downey. And I'm here to speak about Mr. Taylor. He's the one that I had teach me. I had him last year as my history teacher. And man, he was just an awesome teacher. I'd walk in every day, be playing upbeat music. You never knew what you were gonna get with the lesson. It was always engaging. And he made learning fun, even about history. And I've never really been that much into history. And I wanted to be there every day. And he was someone that you could learn from, but at the same time have a good time with, and he would make jokes in class, and you felt like you could really be yourself. He's one of the best teachers I've ever had, and he's an amazing person. He's a coach at Downey, and I feel like losing him and a lot of the other teachers would be a great loss to Downey and be doing an injustice to not only the Downey staff, but also the students in the community. And there's not every teacher is like him. I've had bad teachers at other schools, and he is just super awesome. And just the way that his integrity and how he approached every day made you want to be there and be a better student. And I just feel like rethink the decision about the transfer of the teachers. And yeah, he's an amazing person. The other teachers too, I've talked to them, Mr. Bispo and Tyler, and they're just awesome, but he's the one that I had to actually teach me. I just think he's an amazing person, and it would be a major loss to Downey if he were removed from Downey High School. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Cadence Bispo.
Good evening, board and school district administrators. Hi, I'm Cadence Bispo, and I'm currently a junior at Thomas Downey High School. I'm also the daughter that multiple individuals have been addressing this evening. My family has been part of the Downey community for several years. My father, Frank Bispo, was hired in 1996, about 10 years before I was even born. My 4 older siblings, my mother, as well as a majority of my extended and immediate family, have attended and graduated from Downey. I'm a competitive swimmer who has been offered multiple D1 scholarships, but have never been allowed to swim for the Knights because of conflicting schedules between my club and high school practices. As I began my 3rd year of high school and attempted to be on the swim team, I was once again denied the opportunity. Never once did Downey's principal ever talk or meet with me to work out something, even though he was well aware of my predicament, but yet he is involuntarily transferring these teachers for the betterment of the Downey community. Aren't I a member of that Downey community? I have a 4.5 GPA. I was a 2022 SeaCal volleyball MVP, and am Downey's FBLA parliamentarian. If he cares so much, why are my issues not addressed? The principal has a personal agenda and is not supportive of staff, students, or, quote, district's focus on creating the right conditions for success at each school site, end quote. HR told my dad that I could transfer with him, so I am being forced out of not only my goal to swim on my school team and be a 4-year varsity volleyball player, but I will be denied the opportunity to graduate from Downey as my older sisters and brother did. A principal should not have the ability to make these rash decisions without true justification. It is sad that an adult that I have never had a conversation with in my life can decide the fate of my high school experience, my father's job, and family legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final speaker is Steve Tyler.
Trustees, board, Dr. Noguchi, thank you for having me. My name is Stephen Tyler. I'm one of the teachers that's being given an involuntary administrative transfer to an unknown location. I've been a teacher for 32 years, and I've been at Downey High School for the last 25 of those years, and I've loved just about every minute of that. I love working with the kids at Downey High School. I've worked with students in home and hospital, Modesto Virtual Academy, extended summer school, and Saturday school, and also done intercession on my Christmas breaks. Over the years, I've helped at least 50 to 60 students on home and hospital when they couldn't attend school in person. During COVID and distance learning, I had over 50 students pass all of their classes on Modesto Virtual Academy caseload. Most recently, I had 60 extended summer school health students pass my class to meet that necessary graduation requirement in the first semester alone. At Saturday school, I counsel the students about their grades and tell them to come to room 72 if they ever need any help at all. I've driven all over Modesto helping students for one reason or another. I'm also a football coach at Davis High School for the last several years, and I've been a very productive member of every PLC, collaboration, staff meeting, department meeting, anything having to do with school decisions. I've been productive. But the most important thing that I do is I work with kids on my caseload. My current working assignment is 12th grade resource instructor at Downey High School, and I know without a doubt that I'm placed in the very best placement to do what I do best, and that is working directly with students and staff to help motivate students that are struggling to pass their classes and to make sure that they're in the best possible program to successfully earn enough credits to graduate. Part of my responsibility as a resource instructor is to conduct each one of the students' individual plans, IEP meetings. Through the years, I've made it a point to never go over the deadlines or due dates. I've given everything to make sure these legal records are accurate and on time. I've always had great rapport with the students and staff at Downey High School, so being involuntarily transferred to an unknown location was a slap in the face. Why on earth would you involuntarily transfer a highly effective veteran teacher in the last 18 months of his career? Respectfully, I would like to point out that I'm the oldest resource teacher in my department. I'm going to be 60 years old in May. That's why, Ms. Noguchi, I'd like the opportunity to sit down with you to discuss why I'm being chosen to be transferred for no reason after 25 years at Downey, with only 18 months to go in my career. I'd really appreciate your consideration to redirect the HR department and let me finish my career at the place I love, Thomas Downey High School. Thank you very much for your time.
I'd like to thank each one of the speakers who've spoken to us tonight and to everyone who has been here to attend this meeting. Again, although we cannot engage in discussion or take formal action on items that are not on the agenda, we thank you for following the protocol in addressing the board and for taking the time to share your views this evening. Thank you again. That concludes our period of public presentations. All right, we'll now move on to item B1 on our agenda, report by student representative to the board, Dara Patel. But before she speaks, I would like to thank her for a video presentation that we've been able to see this past week. The great service that you're providing to the community through that presentation, talking about the opportunities that await every one of our students who is able to qualify to attend UC Merced. So thank you for your efforts and the representation that you've given and the example that you've set of how students can use their voice effectively to influence and assist others. So thank you, and we're anxious to hear your report.
Thank you, President Brown. Good evening, everyone. I hope you've all had a great day. This past month has been, it's been a little bit busy since we've been back from winter break. We had our inter-high meeting, and most of the schools were actually in attendance. Bayer said that they were planning and implementing the service project that we had for our inter-high committee, which is Birthday in a Box. So we'll be fundraising items to have little mini birthday parties in a box that will be donated to our elementary school students, specifically Orville Wright and Franklin Elementary kids who don't necessarily get to have the access to have birthday parties. They're also planning prom and boys volleyball, which I hear games are happening throughout the district, so that's very exciting. Johansson is also planning their prom, and they're planning their blood drive. Enoch's is breaking students up into smaller committees to plan prom. Modesto High School had a couple of junior highs visit, like Mark Twain, just to get an idea of what they should do for balloting, and they're just staying strong throughout this time. Grigori is planning their prom, and Grigori's Got Talent. Downey is planning their winter formal, prom, and senior sunset. And then Davis is planning a Unity Week, movie night, talent show, and has their ASB elections coming up soon. I also was at the Bayer Patriotics event, and I just think that it was really good to hear, especially from the students, what they were doing. I think it's when you think of robotics, you just think of like the computer science or like the programming, but you don't see like all the stuff and all the teams that go into it. So they have their business committee, their programming, all those sub teams, which I was really glad to hear from. And you could just really feel the enthusiasm and passion. I wish we had that like everywhere. But one of the things they wanted me to note was that even if students don't attend Bayer, they can still be part of that program. So they're always looking for more students across MCS and all the high schools. So they wanted me to note that even if you don't attend Bayer, you can still be part of the Patriots robotics program. And then lastly, I did film the video for the MAPS UC Merced program, and I had an incredible time doing it. I did it right there in this room. It was pretty dark, so I couldn't see anybody at first, but then, yeah, I did get scared at first, but then I was able to see that there were people in the room, and then it was great to be able to record that, and I think it's on Schoology now, so students can see all the opportunities that they have to further their education. So that concludes my board report. Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll move on to item B2. Approval of acceptance of the district's 2021-2022 financial statements and auditor's report of all funds, including bond measures D and E. Mr. Zerly.
Thank you, President Brown. Good evening, trustees. Education Code requires that every California school district provide an annual audit of our financial records and accounts for the district. Our 21-22 annual audit has been filed with the state and local agencies that we're required to file with. Tonight, Mr. Bill Williams of Eide Bailly is here to make a brief presentation to the Board of Education on the audit results, opinions, and findings.
Great, thank you. This should be on, right? Sounds like, okay. We've got a PowerPoint presentation for you just to give the board, I think there might have been one new board member here. I'm looking around, I haven't been here for a couple years. But just to give you a little bit of a background on the audit and what we kind of go through, I'm hoping this will work perfectly. So We come out to the district a couple times a year. The first time is when we go visit the school sites. We do attendance and some student body testing out at the school sites themselves. Then we come back around March, April, to do internal control testing, a lot of state compliance testing, a lot of federal compliance testing, because the state puts out an audit guide every year that tells us what we need to test, such as attendance, instructional minutes, your adoption of instructional materials. And then we also have the federal compliance side, which you can only imagine ESSER has been the huge topic of discussion the last couple of years, just because of the number of programs that it's been funding and the dollar amounts of those programs. So to let you know, the federal compliance went very well. The district is managing. There's a lot of money coming in to school districts from ESSER and other COVID-related grants. A lot of the districts are doing a very good job managing those funds and spending them in a way that was intended by the law and the funding sources. Again, once the district is closed, we come back in and do more of the financial statement audit accounts payable, accounts receivable, finish up long-term debt, draft your financial statements, and put all the schedules in the back of the audit report that are needed. After that's done, we have a meeting with management, and then we have another meeting with management, union reps, and one of the board members at least, I think, was in that meeting. It was virtual, so I'm not remembering who was there. But we really go through the audit report in detail. We took about 45 minutes in each meeting, go through page by page, the PDF of the audit report, so that when I come tonight, it's a real quick Cliff Notes kind of PowerPoint for you. So that's kind of how we come in and perform the audit at the district itself. So there's opinion letters in your opinion. The first opinion is on your financial statements. This one stated this year that there were no internal control findings. So there could be significant deficiencies in internal controls. There could be material weaknesses in internal controls, basically meaning, did the district make a mistake when they closed their books? And they did not this year, so it was a clean opinion. Good job, fiscal department over there. We have an opinion on federal compliance, and I already mentioned that one was a clean opinion. There is an opinion on state compliance as well, and we did have 2 findings in the state compliance section, one of it which was reporting, because you can imagine with schools closing down and opening back up, all the reporting has changed over the last 2 or 3 years, so it just gets a little bit messy. The independent study program short-term, we found some issues. That was just kind of a huge data dump on teachers, to be honest with you, and we had problems in a lot of school districts this year because it happened so fast and there were so many students on and off independent study that it was just pretty much too much to handle for a lot of people. So like I said, that was a very common finding we had this year. We're hoping it backs up. Everybody wants the students in the classrooms not on independent study, so we're hoping that volume drops way off at all of our clients. So on page 8, the management's discussion and analysis, this would be on your hard copy of the audit report. If you are a new board member, that's where I would go look. That whole section is on your letterhead, so it's easy to spot. It's towards the front of the audit report, and it's really meant to be a cliff notes of everything. So your net position, your fund financial statements, everything summarized there, your debt, your fixed assets. It's a really good quick read. Then your main financial statements, if you do go back and look at the PDF, there's a statement of net position and statement of activities. Those are your first 2 financial statements. Those are the district as a whole. So anytime you see net position, it's everything wrapped together. It's all of your funds, all of your debt, all of your fixed assets all together. Then when you get further into the report, you'll see things more like you're used to seeing with your unaudited actuals and your budgets, where you'll see your general fund, adult ed fund, cafeteria fund. Things will start looking and sounding much more familiar when you get more to the back. The audit report's very big. There's a lot of information in it, so we're just trying to highlight certain sections here. Your district's net position was $70 million. Your unrestricted was a deficit $314 million. Again, your debt is hitting all this. So you have $155 million of bonds, which are taxpayer funded. You have a net OPEB liability, which is your post-employment benefits to retirees of $122 million. Your net pension obligation is the big one. It's $234 million. This is one that is kind of hard to understand, but we know that the STRS and PERS state pensions are underfunded, right? The estimated liabilities are more than what those pensions are holding in cash and investments. So everybody that participates in those, basically if you pay into STRS, you pay into PERS, you get your fair share of that liability to recognize on your books. This is any government. Cities, counties deal with PERS side, school districts deal with STRS and PERS, so you get hit with both of them. So that's what's really driving that big $314 million deficit unrestricted net position, is that net pension liability that everybody has to recognize. Your general fund decreased about $7 million to $135 million. Your reserves were still right in line. They were about 12%. The state minimum is 3%. We don't like anybody near it because you never know what's going to happen in the economy. Your ADA has dropped. I was talking to Dwayne a little bit. Seems like it's holding steady or coming up a little bit for 22, 23, which is good. We really had seen those numbers drop off in a lot of our clients the last year and a half or so. So with that, that's just the Cliff Notes version of it. If you ever want to just go into detail on the whole PDF, join that meeting next year. It'll be probably around, I think we usually have it early December, maybe after January. Things have been really delayed with COVID. Our industry has just been, imagine all your clients closing and then trying to get information from them. It got really rough for the auditors out there in the world. And then the clients just have a lot to deal with too. We had CBOs driving buses. We've had CBOs being substitute teachers in some of our districts. It's just been things like we've never seen before. But we appreciate you guys letting us perform your audit again. And it's nice to see Brad. I always appreciated the beard. I pictured him a little bit differently. We've had a lot of meetings about instruction and ADA, independent study, and all that kind of stuff. So we've had several meetings over the last year and a half. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. Do we have any comments or issues from the public regarding the audit? Seeing none. So any questions or comments from the board? I'd just like to comment that it's great to see the great performance that we had this year and share your concern about independent study and the findings there, and hope that we can make improvements on anything that was found so that we can make sure that even our independent study students are receiving the best possible education that they can. And thank you to all of our staff who participated in this process and provided everything that allowed us to come out with a good, clean audit. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So now, do I hear a motion to approve the acceptance of the district's 2021-22 financial statements and auditor's report of all funds, including bond measures D and E? Motion by Trustee Mejia. Second by Trustee Maestas. The other Trustee Mejia. And this then will be a roll call. So first, Trustee Daly.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye.
Trustee Maestas.
Aye.
Trustee Marks.
Aye.
Trustee Mejia.
Aye.
Vice President Irvin.
Aye.
Student Rep Dara Patel. And President Brown, aye. You have a unanimous vote. Thank you. We'll now move to item B3, which will be a public hearing and approval of Resolution 2223-22 for construction energy services contract with Sinclair Electric, Quick Strike Summer Projects, and related notice of exemption. Mr. Zerly.
Yes, we need to close the regular meeting and open up the public hearing.
Okay, good. So we will now close the regular hearing, a regular open session meeting, and we'll open the public hearing of this agenda item, public hearing of the approval of Resolution 2223-22 for construction energy services contract with Schneider Electric, Quick Strike Summer Projects, and related notice of exemption. So the public hearing is now open.
Thank you again, President Brown and trustees. Yes, this public hearing is open to receive public comments regarding Resolution 22/23-22, authorizing to award Design and Construction Energy Services Contract for our Quick Strike Summer Projects and the related notice of exemption to Schneider Electric. This amendment includes solar photovoltaic installations at Beyer High School, Downey High School, and Johansson High School parking lot, solar canopies, a contract sum of $20.4 million. As part of this resolution, and the reason we have to hold a public hearing is because of Education Code 4217, and we have to stipulate that the anticipated cost to the district for electrical energy and conservation services provided by the energy conservation facilities under this energy services contract will be less than the anticipated marginal cost to the district of electrical energy that would have been consumed in the absence of the project. And if you look at Exhibit B, that is our guarantee to the board for this project. It's $20.4 million, but over the life of that project, it will save the district $28.2 million. More importantly is after the first 8 years, there's $12 million of savings and investment incentives returned to the district that will be put right back into the Measure L facility program for other high school projects across the district. So this is one of those rare opportunities where we do get an immediate return on our investment, as well as the renewable energy that we're going to be producing, the clean renewable energy, but it will help us sustain other projects, other high school projects through Measure L.
Great, thank you. Do we have any comments from the public regarding this agenda item? Seeing none, are there comments or questions from the board? I do have a question. So, Mr. Zerli, on the addendum, it shows the spread of expenses and savings. The expenses all appear to be in the first year. Is that correct?
That is correct. We will own these arrays as soon as they're complete, which gives us the opportunity to have savings from day one as soon as they're functional.
Okay, so the savings will appear also on that addendum annually. And my question is regarding how those savings are realized and at what point dollars will be funded back into the bond program. So it's approximately 20 million upfront. And are the savings that are generated by these installations going to be also pumped back in or offsetting that 20 million?
It'll be a combination of operational savings, annual operational savings in the neighborhood of $600,000 to $700,000 a year, offsetting utility costs for those three schools, but also $7 million of investment, immediate investment to us from the federal government through the Inflation Reduction Act. Those will be checks, I'm told, that will be sent to us, so we can put those towards, the intent would be to put those towards future facility projects to offset that initial $20 million investment.
Okay, so is there some way that we'll be able to see on a regular basis the tracking of money that is going back into the bond program from the savings?
Yes, and when we do that, it'll be reported to the Bond Oversight Committee as well. But we will also make sure the board is aware of the reinvestment of either incentive tax credits or operational savings to the facility program.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much. So we need to close the hearing, and then we will come back for a vote. So the public hearing is now closed, and we'll return to the regular session of the board meeting. Uh, Do we have a motion to pass this resolution?
I'd like to make a motion.
I'm sorry, I heard from multiple sources. Was that trustee Daly made the motion and seconded by trustee Marks? All those in favor? And we need to do roll call. So first, trustee Daly,
Aye.
trustee Lopez,
Aye.
trustee Maestas,
Aye.
trustee Marks,
Aye.
trustee Mejia.
Aye.
Vice President Irvin,
Aye.
student board rep Dara Patel,
Aye.
and President Brown, aye. We have unanimous vote, so that motion carries. Thank you, and we'll move now to item B4. And this is approval of resolution number 2223-23 of the Board of Education of Modesto City Schools appointing the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee of Modesto Elementary Schools District to oversee Measure L of the Modesto High School District.
Thank you.
Mr. Zerly.
Thank you. Good evening again. I believe this will be the last time you have to hear from me tonight. But on November 8th, 22, the issuance by the high school district of not to exceed 198 million aggregate principal amount of general obligation bonds was authorized by the electorate with the passage of Measure L. The district had previously formed a Citizen Bond Oversight Committee after the passage of Measures D and E 4 years ago. That oversight committee will continue to exist until all proceeds from Measures D and E have been spent. Because we anticipate expenditures of the current Measures D and E and now the new Measure L to overlap for a period of time, we ask the board to find that it is in the best interest of the district and most administratively efficient to consolidate oversight responsibilities of all measures under one Citizen Bond Oversight Committee and appoint the existing members of Measure D and E Oversight Committee to act as members of the Bond Oversight Committee for Measure L and to amend all of our governing documents accordingly. Right now, currently, we have had 8 members of the Bond Oversight Committee since the beginning. After our last meeting in January, 2 of them have resigned, so now we're at 6. As the resolution states, the legal minimum is 7. And so we will begin to recruit to get back to the legal minimum, plus more though, because now we have to have a high school parent representative as well. So we will begin that immediately as soon as this resolution is approved, so we can get back up to the required amount of members by the time we start spending Measure L funds.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public on this particular agenda item? Ms. Gladys Williams.
Good evening. I just want you to clarify for me, does that mean that you're going to combine those two committees, or are you just going to add to that committee to bring up your numbers?
It'll be a combination of both. We will combine the two committees to form one committee, utilizing the existing 6 members, and then we'll have to add to that committee.
How many more will you be adding?
We have to, 2 is what we'll be adding at the moment. We can add as many, it's a minimum of 7. We can go as many, the people that are interested to serve on the committee. But we do need a high school, because these funds are dedicated strictly to high school.
Yes.
We do need a high school parent representative as well.
And I did give Dr. Noguchi the name of a senior who would like to serve on that
I
Measure
have
L.
that individual.
You've got her.
I was waiting until this
Okay.
action, and then we will definitely reach out to that one.
Thank you. I
As well
appreciate
as-
that.
As well as follow, and I forgot to mention it, whatever guidelines were established to fill the initial committee, will follow those guidelines to bring to the board for additional committee members.
And I just want to have a point of privilege to thank our president who has led these bonds very successfully. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Any other comments from the public? Any questions or comments from the board? Uh, Trustee Lopez.
Yes, so I had a question in terms of, does that minimum of 8 change depending on the size of the audit committee? So does that mean, so we have 20, would that still be an 8 minimum, or would that move based on based on size?
The only requirement is a minimum of 7. So the size or the number of measures do not matter. And it's a minimum of 7. There are, of the 7, there are 5 statutory requirements. A individual must be part of a business organization, a senior citizen organization, a taxpayer organization, and then a parent, 2 of those are parent guardians. So then you can have at-large members, which we had as well. That would bring you to the 7. But because we're adding another district, the high school district, we would make sure at a minimum, those parents could, if they had a high school student and an elementary student, serve in both capacities. Otherwise, we'd have to, at a minimum, add 2 to make it 9 in order to meet the high school parent requirement.
Got it.
If that is clear.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I would hate to have the scenario that we know, because we do know life happens, folks come in, folks come out. So I would want to make a recommendation that we look at having at least 10 in our group, so that in case we go down a little bit, there isn't that much. We still have some wiggle room before we get to the minimum of 7.
Absolutely. Okay, and our bylaws that the board approved, and we can look to bring those back, just state a minimum of 7. And then we can have as many at-large members as the board desires.
Understood. Thank you.
Trustee Marks, did you have a comment? I don't see you on the queue, of course.
No, I agree with Trustee Lopez. I think it's wise to have more than the minimum, and that way if some members aren't able to make it or resign for some unknown reason, we have extras. Thought that was a great idea.
Thank you. I do have a question. Mr. Zerly, I have served on a bond oversight committee in another district, and I know in that particular committee, the members serving on that committee had specific term times and term limits. How would serving on 2 different committees affect those term and term limits?
Well, for our existing members, since we're merging into one committee, currently our bylaws say they can serve 2 consecutive 2-year terms. So we're coming up on 4 years for the existing committee members, even once we merge that. But Education Code allows for 3 consecutive 2-year terms. So we may want to look at the bylaws, depending on the board's preference, about the minimum number and also term limits. But right now it's 2. They would be serving their second consecutive 2-year period even once we combine this committee.
So basically what we know is that there is a 2-year extension that's allowed by Ed Code, but we are going to be approaching a time when we will need to have a massive reconstruction of this committee to find new community members to fill those seats.
Potentially, if we don't do the Ed Code provision and do 3 2-year terms.
So any new members that come into the committee, they will, when does their term start? When they
will be starting
begin?
their first 2-year assignment whenever they start.
So they'll be building the future of the next committee.
Yes.
Okay.
Which
So-
4 years ago, that was June. We start in June 2019. So depending on when we pull this committee together, that's what that clock would start ticking.
So we need to put a message out to the public that if you are interested in serving on this bond oversight committee that will cover both D and E and Measure L, there are opportunities, and if you are interested, but now is not the right time, keep it in mind because come 2 years from now, we will be seeking at least 6 more individuals to fill that committee.
Correct.
All right, thank you. Yes, we need to have a motion to approve, and we've heard a recommendation that we take that committee to a number of 10. And one other question, the bylaws for this committee, are those adopted by the committee or by the board?
They're adopted by the committee, but the board establishes, we did have board action on creating the bylaws for the resolution and the bylaws for the committee.
So to suggest a number 10, is that,
We'll have to bring that back to the board.
so we don't add that into our?
It's not part of this resolution here.
Okay.
There, we'll make sure though that gets covered at a subsequent board meeting.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve this item? Approval of Resolution 2223-23 of the Board of Education of Modesto City Schools appointing Citizens Bond Oversight Committee of Modesto Elementary Schools District to oversee Measure L of the Modesto High School District. Motion by Trustee Mejia, second by Student Rep Patel. Those in favor by roll call. Trustee Daly.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez.
Aye.
Trustee Maestas.
Aye.
Trustee Marks.
Aye.
Trustee Mejia.
Aye.
Vice President Irvin.
Aye.
Student Board Rep Dara Patel.
Aye.
Aye. And President Brown, aye. This motion carries unanimously. And that takes us to item B5, the report on graduation requirements recommendations. And the speaker will be Mike Rich.
Good evening, Board President, trustees. I'm excited tonight to not only present this item, but my co-presenter will be Ms. Dara Patel, who has been part of this process since August. So excited to have her present with us. As a result of one of the Equity and Social Justice Task Force recommendations that stated to analyze, that we needed to analyze grading policies and course offerings, in August of this year, we convened a committee of educational partners to look at our graduation requirements. And the purpose really was to look at not only those requirements, but draft a recommendation to bring to the superintendent, who would ultimately bring it to the board, which is why we're here tonight. Central to this analysis was to ensure that recommendations that would be brought forward took into account equitable access for all students. The report tonight will review the work of the committee, share several proposals that were developed, and highlight one of the proposals as a recommendation for the new graduation requirements. Any approved changes will take effect starting with the entering freshman class of 2024. And tonight's just a report, it's not an approval. So Ms. Patel has the next slide.
So the purpose of this presentation is just to review the members, the purpose, and the work that we did as the committee, review the current graduation requirements, and present the committee with 2 options that we discussed within the graduation requirements committee, share the recommendations from the staff, and then outline next steps. The district goal alignment with this presentation and this committee is Goal 1, which is to increase academic achievement and ensure equitable access to enable all students to attain college and career readiness. Along with that, the recommendation regarding equity and social justice is to analyze grading and policies and course offerings. Again, like Mr. Rich said, these changes were not take into effect until the freshman class of 2024 to 2025, so current high schoolers will not be affected by these graduation requirements.
So AB 101 required an ethnic studies course, a 1-semester ethnic studies course for added to the graduation requirements. It's the first graduation requirement that the state has added since 1993, where they increased the English requirement from 3 to 4 years. The law also, well, and this course needs to be the graduating class of 2930 have to have this as a graduation requirement. And you might think that's a long ways away, but the law also stipulates that the course must be made available starting in the 25-26 school year, so that those students have 4 years to be able to earn that unit, that class. So the reason for the committee really was several-fold. AB 101 was a factor, and we really needed to consider that. We also recognize that coming out of the pandemic, as well as from parents that have presented at the board meetings and community members, that we needed to find time in a student's schedule to take advanced courses as well as remediated courses as they might fall behind. The committee used an equity lens to find ways to also include financial literacy and college and career readiness, as again, that's been a proponent from the board as well as the public on where do we find time and to add that into the requirements.
So within the committee, Mr. Rich gave us a lot of assignments to do. We had to review the current graduation requirements for MCS, look at similar districts and their graduation requirements, see the state minimum requirements and the A through G requirements for students to go to college. We identified areas that needed to be updated or addressed to maximize student access and recommend proposed changes to the superintendent. And all this was done through a series of representation, and I think Mr. Rich will get to that soon, but we did have homework.
I would be a poor educator if I did not provide you an opportunity to learn outside of the classroom, Dara. The committee was formed with representatives from groups from administration, counseling, teachers, parents, and Dara representing her peers as students. It included those that looked at the work through the support lens for all students, particularly our English learners and our students with disabilities. There were some unintended consequences that you'll see here in a second, and in looking back at the committee in hindsight, I should have provided and invited a health teacher to also participate. As you'll see, that'll come up a little bit in some of the recommendations. So I want to walk you through just to kind of help us understand the requirements at the state level, and then as well at the current level, as well as districts around us. So the first slide here, we're looking at state graduation requirements. You can see the first column lists the course area. The second column, CA, stands for the California minimum requirements, and A through G is the UC-CSU A through G graduation requirements. So you can see here that the state minimum is only 130 units. The VAPA, CTE, and world language requirements, they have an asterisk, and you're going to see this asterisk appear throughout many scenarios. So that means that a combination of options exist for that credit type. So in this case, the state requires 10 units of either VAPA or CTA or world language, not 10 of each, but 10 as a combination of those three. You'll also note that there is a discrepancy in the number of units in core areas between the two systems. So for example, the California is 30, where the A through G I said was moved to 40. Math is only 20 for California, but 30 for A through G. Interestingly enough, history, social science is 30 for California and only 20 for A through G. So you can see there's some discrepancy as we move down that. You do have to have an A through G approved 1 year of elective and 2 years of a world language for A through G. And you don't need any PE, but you do need PE for high school. So the committee had to take all of this into account as they're addressing what do we want to make our graduation credits requirements look like. Here are the current MCS graduation requirements. So you can see it's a pretty good combination of the two that we just looked at. 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 3 years history, social science, 2 years of science, a combination of 10 units of VAPA, CTE, world language, 20 or 2 years of PE. And then below here, you'll see some of our current graduation requirements that are not found on the state or the UC A through G requirements. So we have a semester of health, a semester requirement of practical art, a semester requirement of world geography and religions, and then we have 65 total electives, which an elective just means anything that hasn't already filled one of those other buckets. So if you took a 4th year of math, that would count as elective credit because you've already fulfilled your 3 years of math before that. For a total of 230 units for graduation. Again, current graduation requirements. So one of the things that we wanted the committee to look at was, and I recognize this is a little small, so I apologize. This The blue columns are the requirements we just looked at for MCS, California, and A through G. And the following are either districts that are close to us or similar in demographics and size to us. I didn't highlight all the changes, but I wanted to just bring out a few changes just to note that there is some discrepancy between local districts and districts our size. So for example, you'll see at Turlock and Ceres, the math requirement is 20. And if you remember, that's the California minimum requirement for math, whereas ours is 30. If you look at Elk Grove, they've got 35 units of history social science. And if you look at Sac City, they have 40 units of history social science. As well as down below, you'll see that some districts have 230 total credits, some have 220, some 225. There really is some discrepancy in what we can do as a school district and what we can require. So the committee took a lot of time to review this and look at each one of these requirements, really to consider possible options for our students. So let's look at the recommendations. Tonight we're going to be sharing 2 options from the committee. Please note that the areas highlighted in yellow are current MCS graduation requirements that will remain constant and unchanged in both options that we'll be presenting. So for example, we currently require 30 units of math. That will remain constant in both of these options that we'll present tonight. The same will be true for English, history, social science, science, VAPA, world language, and PE. Those in blue will be the ones that we'll discuss maybe with some options. So let's look at option 1. Option 1 includes maintaining the following courses. I'm just bringing that up again so you just see it again visually with what we were talking about. English, math, history, social science, science, VAPA, world language, and PE all remain in the current status quo, including VAPA and world language with that asterisk where they can have 10 units of one of those. So let's look at some changes. So option 1 includes changing the following MCS requirements. Currently, 10 units of CTE are optional and part of the VAPA World Language CTE 10-unit bucket we discussed. Option 1 removes CTE from that and requires 20 units of a CTE course, including a capstone course. The CTE units can be waived for students taking advanced college courses. Option 1 adds content to the the 1 semester health course to include college and career readiness, including financial literacy and 4-year planning. The health content would need to be adjusted to allow for the new curriculum, but would still abide by the California Healthy Youth Act. Option 1 removes altogether the 1 semester practical arts requirement. Option 1 also removes the current MCS requirement for world geography and religions and replaces it with the new state ethnic studies graduation requirement. Finally, option 1 reduces the current number of electives from 65 to 40, and you might think that's extreme, but remember 20 of those were moved into the CTE requirement. That's where 20 of those, and then the other 5 are from the practical art requirement, bringing the total number of units from 230 to 220 needed for graduation. This reduction in total credits is needed. Credits needed will support all learners, especially those that need to take courses based on their IEP or designated English learner services, to allow them a little bit more flexibility in their day so it's not so tight. Option 2. Again, option 2, everything in yellow remains constant with what we're currently doing in the district. And you'll notice here CTE is added back into that rotation or that bucket of 10 units between CTE, VAPA, and world language. So option 2 presents the following changes. It adds content to the 1 semester health course to include college and career readiness, including financial literacy and 4-year planning. The health content would need to be adjusted to allow for the new curriculum, but would still abide by the California Healthy Youth Act. Same thing we saw in option 1. Option 2 removes altogether the 1 semester practical arts requirement. Same thing we saw in option 1. And option 2 removes the current MCS requirement for world geography religions and replaces it with the new ethnic studies state requirement. Same as option 1. And finally, option 2 reduces the current number of electives from 65 to 60, bringing the total number of units needed for graduation from 230 to 220. Again, the reduction helping to support all learners, especially those with an IEP or designated English learner services. So really the difference between option 1 and 2 rests with that CTE requirement and the total number of electives needed. Dara, I think you wanted to mention here something about that health college career class.
Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to focus on when I was on the committee is, since the goal is to prepare students for college and career, I was speaking to other teachers and parents, and we saw that a lot of students either go to college or directly go into their careers. So it was important to include some way to ensure that they were ready for college and career readiness. So that college and career readiness is to plan out, how they want to go about their high school career, if they want to go to college, what the classes they'll need to take, and what path they'll need to take. And then also for the financial literacy, regardless if they go to college or not, they'll be able to manage their finances. And if they do go to college, manage the debt that they might incur from college. So I think that was really important that I wanted to hit on. Just having students have that knowledge of being able to manage their finances after they leave high school, and also kind of, as freshmen, see what kind of pathway they wanted to take, and see what they needed to do to accomplish these things they want to do in high school.
Thank you, Dara. Also note the ethnic studies requirement, which we have not written that course. There'll have to be a whole curriculum review and pilot and public preview, much like we do with every other curriculum. The state requirement allows us to build that based on our local needs and our local history. So we will still be able to build into that curriculum as appropriate some of the great work that's been done over the last 20 years on the World Geography and Religions class. So that will be part of that formation as we work on that course. So one of the concerns with bringing forward option one is that